news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The Philippines may get up to 9.3 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccines once the WHO grants its emergency use listing. To tell us more about this, we have Greg Gregorio reporting live from Mandaluyong. Greg, we have WHO's Dr. Rabindra Abayasinghe also present at today's DOH briefing to give us updates regarding this COVAX facility. Do we have a timeline now for the approval of the EUA of the AstraZeneca vaccine?
Charles, according to WHO country representative to the Philippines, Dr. Rabindra Abayasinghe, the WHO is already have a pending review on the data information as to the application of AstraZeneca for emergency use listing. According to Dr. Rabi, it may be released as soon as possible. As to the timeline as to when the vaccines from AstraZeneca may come to the Philippines, it is estimated to arrive by either late February or early March. Charles?
This is amazing news for us, but then how many doses of Pfizer vaccines are we expecting from the COVAX facility, and when do we expect these to arrive?
Oh, Charles, that's actually the good news because according to the WHO, the 117,000 doses of vaccines from Pfizer and BioNTech may arrive in the Philippines by either second or third week of February. Charles?
Right. What then now is the WHO's assessment of the country's pandemic response, Greg?
Charles, Dr. Rabi pointed out that the Philippines has implemented lockdowns to mitigate transmission and to control the number of deaths. However, Dr. Rabi emphasized that there are also rooms for improvement, and he also emphasized that the continuous implementation and adherence to the minimum public health standards is still needed as we all wait for the arrival of COVID-19 vaccines. Charles?
Well, let's talk about other updates from our health department. Do we have any new updates on the agency's plan to ramp up genome sequencing? How will the agency now mitigate this global shortage of reagents for genome sequencing?
Charles, after experiencing shortage of reagent for the conduct of genome sequence, the Department of Health reported that only 48 samples were genome sequenced in the last batch of genome sequencing. But earlier today, Vergara reported that their order for new reagents and additional sequencing kit, the order for reagents has arrived last night, while the order for sequencing kits may arrive at the later part of this week. And as to solve or to respond to the global shortage of reagents, the Department of Health said they will now be procuring procuring supplies of reagents and sequencing kits for the next 6 months, and they have already requested a budget of a total of 362 million to the DBM to sustain this genome sequencing in the country at least until the end of the year. Charles?
All right, Greg, we know one of the things we're looking out for is the situation in Bontoc. What is the latest regarding the contact tracing efforts over there, and how many people have contracted the virus?
Charles, as to our UK variant cases in Bontoc, no new UK variant cases has been reported, but according to Vergara, the number of close contacts is now up to 410, 83 of which have been tested positive for the COVID-19, and it includes the 12 cases who are reported to be positive with the UK variant. However, other specimens are still pending for genome sequencing. Charles?
All right, Greg, but what about in La Trinidad Benguet? Do we have any new reports of the new case of the UK variant?
Charles, on that case in La Trinidad Benguet, Vergara said a number of 37 close contacts have been identified, 6 of which tested positive with COVID-19. However, none has been tested positive for UK variant so far, and 2 specimens have been sent for genome sequencing last January 27, and there is no result for that yet. Charles?
All right, Greg, are we looking at any other UK variant clusters that the health department is closely watching at the moment?
Charles Vejera reported that they are closely monitoring other areas in the country where there are increase in COVID-19 cases. However, in a statement, Vejera clarified that this increase cannot be accounted to the presence of UK variant because, in fact, according to the latest genome sequencing, no new UK variant cases in other parts of the country has been reported so far, aside from Bontoc in Mountain Province. Charles?
Thank you, Greg Gregorio, reporting live from Mandaluyong. We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. Airport. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lehano. Now that the government has lifted the travel ban, airport authorities are beefing up security measures to prevent the entry of the UK variant into the Philippines. To give us more details, Gerard de la Peña reports to us live from NAIA Terminal 2. Gerard, good afternoon. How are things today at the airport?
Well, Charles, authorities are implementing a new set of protocols and procedures for arriving international passengers starting today. First off, they tweaked their policies regarding international passengers who are foreign nationals to allow their entry to include investors, employees of multinational companies, diplomats, and former Filipino citizens to enter the country. Previously, the government implemented a blanket policy that would prohibit all foreign nationals, particularly those coming from countries with confirmed cases of the new COVID-19 strain. The government will also require arriving passengers to book a quarantine hotel that will be good for at least 7 nights. Before, those coming from abroad may leave their quarantine hotels as soon as they receive the negative result of their RT-PCR tests, while those coming from countries with the new COVID-19 variant will have to stay in their quarantine hotels for 14 days, regardless of their RT-PCR test results. But now, arriving passengers need not undergo RT-PCR testing upon arrival, and instead, they have to do so after 6 days. If they test negative, they may continue their quarantine at home or at their LGU's quarantine facilities. Charles, despite the new rules, the number of arriving international passengers are still capped at 2,000 passengers a day here at the NAIA. And that is because of the limited number of quarantine hotels here in Metro Manila. So those who are abroad and if they are intending to come over here to Manila or in Cebu, they may expect difficulty in booking their flights. Charles.
Thanks for that, Gerard. That was Gerard de la Peña reporting from NAIA Terminal 2. Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin urges the public to watch and see the ongoing developments in Myanmar before reacting to the situation. Locsin is taking on a nuanced stance after the arrest of Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi this morning, following widespread allegations of election fraud. The DFA chief said we should not rely on Western narratives informing opinions about what's going on in Myanmar. US and Australian media were quick to brand the situation as a brewing coup, with Washington even threatening to intervene if tensions continued to rise. But Locsin says the West is to blame for the predicament in modern-day Myanmar, so their position should be taken with a grain of salt. Still, most of the information that we have are from Western media sources, as Myanmar's state media remains unable to broadcast due to supposed technical issues. Phone lines in the capital city of Naypyidaw are likewise unreachable at the moment. This is a developing story, and we'll loop you in on more details as soon as these cross our wires. The Pork Producers Federation is criticizing the Agriculture Department's moves in connection with importation and price freezes amid the African swine fever crisis. Speaking with Cito Beltran on One News's agenda, Luzon Vice President for Pro-Pork Philippines, Nicanor Briones, says the DA's measures are putting more pressure on the hog industry instead of offering solutions. The former congressman notes that instead of imposing a price freeze, zero tariffs, and more importation, what the sector currently needs is a long-term solution to prevent the same issues from happening again.
Ang dapat natin pagtuunan yung pangmahabang solusyon eh.
Oo.
Long-term solution para tayo magkaroon ng food security. Hindi itong pansamantala na lalo kaming parurusahan, lalong mawawalan ng gana, aatras kami sigurado. Kami
Okay.
mga magbababoy, magmamanok. At yan ang nangyayari sa ngayon.
Briones also said Agriculture Secretary William Dar should listen to hog raisers instead of acting on their own to counter ASF issues. He revealed that the group advised the department to figure out how to deal with ASF, stop the over-importation of pork products, and once and for all, end technical smuggling that is causing the undervaluation of goods.
Kaya nagkapatong-patong na ang parusa sa ating mga magsasaka ay ang technical smuggling. Ang technical smuggling, una, yung undervaluation. Kung makikita mo, Sito, yung importation ng manok at baboy, 50% lang ang dinideclare. Undervaluation yan. So sa manok pa lang, nawawala na ng mga 2.4 billion taon-taon dahil nawawala na 20 pesos per kilo na taripa. Sa baboy naman, nawawala ng mga 2.7 billion na pesos taon-taon dahil lang nila sa halip na 150 pesos, 75 or 80 pesos na lang sa technical smuggling, Sito, ay yung tinatawag nating misdeclaration. Dito mas malaki ang nawawalang taripa o buwis sa ating gobyerno. Dahil pag tiningnan mo ang importation mula 2018 hanggang 2020, ang baboy na in-import, 986 million kilos, ito yung opal, spots, skin, kung saan ang taripa ay 5% lamang. Samantala kung sa baboy ay 40%.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join Sean Yao later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lehano. We're One News.